Hello and welcome to Smaulgld's People's Bank of China's Gold Reserve Update for the month of October 2017. The People's Bank of China's gold reserves remain the same as they were in September, as they were in August, as they were in July, as they were in June, as they were all the way back to October 2016. People's Bank of China added no gold to her reserves in October and have not added any since they were admitted to the SDR in October 2016. Total reported People's Bank of China's gold reserves are at 1,842 tons, same as October 2016. However, the People's Bank of China's foreign reserves continue to increase for the ninth month in a row, up $7 billion to 3.1092 trillion. You will recall that the People's Bank of China had sold off about 900 billion worth of reserves in 2015 and 2016, and they had added about 104 tons during that period of gold. They've since stopped adding gold. Chinese holdings of U.S. Treasuries have risen back to 1.2 trillion in August, so part of China's rebuilding of reserves involves U.S. Treasuries. It does not involve adding gold. Keep in mind, we're talking about the People's Bank of China, the Central Bank of China, their reserves, their treasury holdings, and their gold holdings. We're not talking about all the gold or all the tea in China. We're just talking about, the central bank's gold reserves. They're no longer swelling. They're at 1,842 tons. And keep in mind that those 1,842 tons are worth approximately just 76 billion, or less than 2% of their overall foreign reserves. However, gold demand in China remains very strong. Imports are high, retail demand is high, and as we report on every month, withdrawals on the Shanghai Gold Exchange are also at robust levels. So we're not saying that China is not adding gold at various different places in the country. It's just as a matter of central bank management of reserves, it is not adding gold. People like to say they're lying. No, the People's Bank of China doesn't need to add more gold to their reserves. They don't add more gold to the reserves. They add treasuries. The rest of the country, other state-owned banks, state-owned enterprises, sovereign wealth funds, individuals, sure, they're adding gold. And we're going to see some data on the imports and the gold purchases. They're just not happening at the central bank level. Can't stress that point enough. People confuse China with the People's Bank of China. People's Bank of China is the central bank of China. But here you can see the Central Bank of China, the People's Bank of China's gold reserves have flatlined ever since October 2016. And I say here, you stop running once you catch the bus. People's Bank of China hasn't added any gold to reserves since the yuan, or the Chinese renminbi, became part of the SDR basket in October 2016. And if you're interested in the case that China is missing gold, I published an article. Actually, Zero Hedge then just copied it and put it with the same title into one of their articles. But it goes through how China has different places in the country, because it is a state-owned enterprise, so to speak, the country. It is run centrally planned. So whatever gold is in the country, technically, could easily be put into the People's Bank of China if they want. We've done calculations. We think that amount is probably around 20,000 tons. As you'll see, we'll get to a chart at the bottom, not tomorrow, at the bottom. Still, that's worth $800 billion, even if you have 20,000 tons. I think a lot of people, they just hear China's buying a lot of gold, hand over fist, Russia. They just don't know how much that gold is worth. So you can be misled into these hyperbolic pronouncements how they're going to crush the dollar. You're not going to crush anything with $76 billion worth of gold. It's a fly speck. Also, people think, why else are they buying gold hand over fist? They must be doing gold back yuan. No, it's a reserve asset. You don't, it's the same reason you buy gold. You don't buy it so you can back something. You might, but most people, most organizations, most central banks hold gold as a reserve asset. They don't hold it so they can use it in international barter trade. Unless they're under sanctions, then they might. But a country that's not under sanctions is just holding it as a matter of prudence and a matter of hedging against any particular thing that could happen to the country, including sanctions. Doesn't mean they're preparing for a gold-backed yuan. Remember, a central bank, the last thing they ever want is a gold-backed anything that restricts them. What they want is the ability to print money. And all these central banks are in it together. They don't want to be restricted by a gold standard. The people may want that. But unless the people can wrest control from their central banks, you're not going to get it. All right, so as to gold in China, we know that China has a lot of gold production, number one in the world. They got good gold reserves. They're saying they found more. I don't know how much you can believe that, but the point is they do mine about 450 plus tons a year, although this year they're saying they might not hit 450 tons, that they're down about 9.9%. But still, probably still will lead the world in gold production even with that decline this year. Shanghai Gold Exchange has had withdrawals over almost 15,000 tons over the past several years. We've mentioned imports into China via Hong Kong. That's a big number. We're going to see that number below in a chart. And yet the People's Bank of China only has 1,850 or less tons of gold, and we know they've mined more than that. So you could see that gold goes elsewhere, not out of the country, but elsewhere in the country. Same with India. Indian households, they have 22,000 tons. They're in temples. Royal Bank of India, 557 tons. So, you shouldn't confuse what a central bank has as being the nation's gold. It is, but it's what they happen to keep there. Let's take a look. So now, foreign reserves. We note here in January 2017, the foreign reserves are under $3 trillion. Since then, they've managed to boost it up to $3.1092 trillion. You can see they built up the reserve position, largest in the world of any central bank, mostly on foreign trade surpluses. Most of that was, a good portion of it was U.S. Treasuries. And then they sold some off to defend the yuan, and now they're building them back up. And they're building them back up in the form of Treasuries. There is your Treasury chart since August 2016 all the way through, or actually August 2015 through August 2017. And you can see they did sell off, and now they're building back up. They're now, again, the number one holder of U.S. Treasuries. So this dumping Treasuries narrative is over. Someone hasn't got the memo. They're still repeating the meme, but same with Russia. They're not dumping Treasuries anymore either. They're up, up, up. All right, gold imports. Here you go. Cumulative imports since 2001, 9,100 tons. So a lot of gold goes into China. Most of it comes via Switzerland, goes through Hong Kong, and then into China. There's gold they don't report on, goes to Shanghai. So it is not fantasy. When people talk about how much gold China has, when they say they may have 20,000, 30,000 tons, that's all possible. That's not making anything up. The hyperbole is that they have that gold, that it's all with the Central Bank of China, People's Bank of China, and that they're lying about it, and that the reason that they're acquiring is they're going to back the yuan with gold. There's nothing to indicate that that's the case. It means that a lot of gold goes into the country and a lot of different entities hold it. Now, there are some that think that the government holds about half of that gold. It could be in the other banks, but a lot of gold observers think that that gold is in private hands. Now, private hands in China means the government come knock on your door and say, hey, yours is mine and mine is, what's yours is mine and what's mine is mine, and let me have your gold. But if they don't do that, that gold is not available on a national level. That's in private hands. Just as supposedly the gold you might have is in your hands. It doesn't belong to the United States. So you wouldn't add that gold and say United States gold equals X, including the gold you have. No, you only include what the Treasury claims they have, and that's it. They don't include all the gold in the country. Mining production, as we mentioned, it's been on the incline. I don't have 2017 final numbers yet. When I do, you'll probably see this number cut down to about 2012 levels, 2013 levels. Still robust, though, but that's 5,200 tons of gold right there. just since the year 2000. And again, 1,843 tons on the People's Bank of China's balance sheet. It means it all doesn't end up at their central bank. Shanghai Gold Exchange, very robust withdrawals through September. I should have October numbers this week. I'll get them out to you. Now, some Chinese retail gold demand, very strong. There's a story here. Chinese demand for gold bar climbs on half on hunt for havens. Oh, climbs by half. That means 50%. That's the headline. I didn't write it. Then they show here the gold bars, the gold jewelry. The first half of Chinese gold demand, 545 tons. That's like 1,000 tons a year just on bars and jewelry. So definitely China is in love with the gold. And then here's a later one. Now this one came out, I think, might have been today. China's demand for gold, excluding central bank purchases, meaning People's Bank of China, rose 15.5% in the first 3 quarters. So now they're saying it's 815 tons. So basically, 3 quarters, 815. It's over 270 tons a quarter. I mean, you're going to be over 1,000 tons this year for sure. Things continue that they go. Here's your top 10 gold holding nations. You got U.S., Germany, IMF, Italy, France. That's another one. Everyone insists that they know the United States doesn't have any gold left. And the reason they know that is they've heard it 1,000 times from the gold community. They know that. And they will laugh at you. You're naive. Basically because they've heard a story 1,000 times that the United States doesn't have gold. The same thing they hear gold-backed yuan 1,000 times. So it's a very interesting psychological, I wouldn't say experiment, but when you hear people claiming to have knowledge or wanting to or believing something, they don't have any knowledge. They've just heard something a lot. And the more they hear it, the more they believe it, the more they believe it. And if you don't believe it, then you're a moron. If you don't believe what someone else believes, and they really believe it, because they think they've researched it, because they've seen it a lot of places, and if you don't know that, then you're an idiot. But if you agree with them, you're smart, you get it. You understand gold, you're smart. Even more so, you tell them you have, oh, you're really smart. You know it's coming. No, having gold doesn't make you smart. Having silver doesn't make you smart. Having any asset doesn't make you smart. Having a brain makes you smart. All right. Sorry about that. Now, another one. China's got gold and it will save itself from economic collapse. No, it won't. They don't have that much gold in dollar terms. But the dollar is worthless toilet paper. Yeah, the dollar is what the world runs on. It doesn't run on anything else. Now, you may not like that. I don't think that's the right way, that you just have a fiat currency and they can print it. I get all that, but that's the way things are. So my point about gold here, I did a chart. When I keep hearing China has so much gold, they can ride out the storm. No, they can't. Even if they have 20,000 tons, it's worth $803 billion. Multiply it by 10. Make sure gold goes to, I don't know, $10,000, $15,000 an ounce, which it probably won't because central banks don't want it to go there. Game over. But in any event, here's a chart. There's their debt right now, $28 trillion, and that's growing. That doesn't include unfunded liabilities. Here's gold at $13,000 an ounce. And let's say they got 20,000 tons. They're not even getting close. If China's debt Ponzi scheme collapses, they got gold. So what? It's not going to save. See, gold can only save you to the extent that your recklessness isn't that reckless. I mean, if you have a gold coin but you owe $100,000 on your credit card, it's not going to save you. The only thing that's going to save you is if you actually have plenty more gold than your debt, and China doesn't, and they never will. All right, that about does it. If you want to buy gold or silver, you can do so through the links on the site: BGSC, Gold and Eagle Coins, ST Bullion, Money Metals Exchange. You click on those links. I'm not advising you to do so. It's not investment advice, but if you're going to do so, you can compare pricing and shipping at those links and make your purchase, and Smaulgld will get a small commission. That's one way we keep the site going. Oh, no, not recently. No one's buying any gold or silver. You can donate. People are doing that. Thank you very much. They're donating via PayPal, Bitcoin, Litecoin. And also you can become a patron. A few people have done that, so thank you very much for that. Also, the offer that does seem to be getting some traction, every once a week someone signs up for Coinbase. They want to trade Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, which you can do on Coinbase. I think they have 12 million users right now. I have an affiliate arrangement with them, and if you click on the link, not investment advice, you go out and buy cryptocurrencies, but if you're going to do so, not investment advice that you do so, but if you do, you can open a Coinbase account, you buy $100 worth of Bitcoin, they'll give you $10 worth of free Bitcoin, and that's how I get Bitcoin. They give me $10 worth of it too. So thank you very much for listening, and we'll have Indian gold and silver import data soon. We'll have Kazakhstan gold reserves soon, and we'll have Perth Mint gold, which we haven't done yet. And then Shanghai Gold Exchange withdrawal. So stay tuned and subscribe.